Hello everyone and welcome to my Lego room. I'm TJ the Brickwright and today is our first real video of 2024, so happy new year to everybody. We also have a couple things that have happened recently that have not been so good. So as many of you know, I lost my computer with all of the previous stud.io files, so all the instructions, the digital builds and everything, and unfortunately it's gone. It's all gone. All the file folders are gone. I brought it to what I believed at the time was a reputable establishment to get my computer and try to salvage the files. And they gave me a phone call and said, "Hey, you're all done. We've got everything transferred over. We salvaged all the files for you." And then when my wife went to pick it up, they said, "Oh yeah, we weren't able to salvage any of it. None of it worked." And I thought that was rather disingenuous when they said that. And then when I got it home beforehand, I was able to salvage a couple files. And so I'd go into the computer and start it, and I'd be able to find a few things, but then eventually it would crash. And now I can't even do that. I can't even access some of the folders, like even the documents folder, the downloads folder, and the videos folder, which had all of the mocs, all of the digital builds for, the last few years, which is too bad. As many of you know, the ATTC was already gone digitally, so I haven't been able to update the instructions and fix the little things that had issues. Because they don't exist anymore. The instructions literally do not exist. And we're in the same boat again with the previous ones, which is too bad. I may go back and try to rebuild them, but that's a lot of extra time and a lot of extra effort. Anyway, you're not here for that. You guys want to see something cool, right? You guys want to see some neat stuff. Well, I do have some good news for everybody. That our first set of instructions is up right now on rebrickable.com, and it is for our New Republic tank. Now, this isn't the one that won the contest. I'm sure everybody knows that. That one is way cooler and way bigger too. But for our first set of instructions with a new computer and doing all the new things, I decided to go ahead and try it out with mine and make sure I still had all those skills that were lost for a little while as I was transitioning computers. So I built this in digital form on stud.io, went through, built the instructions, and the instructions are up for sale right now at rebrickable.com. One thing I've decided to do with this mock is I have a lot of ideas. Oh, I guess you guys don't actually know that is something that can happen. So we'll talk about it in a little bit, but I hope you guys can head over there and check it out. There are two parts to the instructions, as we'll talk about in just a little bit, but you guys can head over there and check out the whole set and slew of instructions that are available. If I end up going through and rebuilding instructions for things, I'm really hoping that I can make those changes, fix them up, and maybe even make the instructions a little more clear. So without going absolutely crazy, let's go ahead and talk about my version of what the New Republic tank could be. This is my New Republic hover tank, and I'm really excited to go over a bunch of the details with you guys, so bear with me as we continue on. I know I shared a brief look at this thing a few weeks ago, but I'm really excited to show you all the details and all the fun stuff. So the first thing I'll show you is that the vehicle has a lot of different features on it that are inspired by other Star Wars tanks. Obviously, it's got a similar profile and shape and arrangement of things very similar to like the AAT. It can also carry things on the wings, if you will, the little outriggers. That's what I was looking for. The little flat panels that go off to the side. That was inspired by the Imperial hover tank from Rogue One. I really liked the fact that the guys could ride on it. It could carry cargo and things like that. And this one could even, carry a little bit of cargo on the side into battle or onto the battlefield. So I was pretty happy with it, being able to do that, and it was kind of something I was trying to make sure I could include. The little panels at the side, I thought about adding rocket launchers and things to it, and I may still do that later on down the road, but for now, it'll pretty much stay there. Now, any of the attachments, I am selling these instructions for $5 right now, but any attachments or upgrades, modifications that I add to it will be completely free, not just for the people who buy it, but for the people who just come by and want to see things. So I'll have separate sets of instructions for each of the different things. And I may as well show you now, because I've already half showed you already, but we have a modular, here, we'll move these guys out of the way. We have a modular aspect to this tank, and that is the rear turret. The rear turret can completely separate from the main body. You can see our little thruster down underneath there. And the tank can carry a whole variety of different things on the back. As of right now, as of today, oh goodness gracious. I really like the look of this cannon, these cannons right here, but man, they can get a little sensitive. So right now, as of the posting of this video, I will only have one set of instructions for the modular component, modular turret, and that is going to be this one that you see right here. But like I said, as we add more things, they will go up and they will be free. So if you want the base model, it's just $5, and then everything else is going to be free going forward. So hopefully that helps. As many of you know, I started my own business, and so as much as I would like to punt out a bunch of free stuff all the time, I do have my family to think about now, and I'm pretty proud of this mock, and it uses a lot of cool techniques, and I think it's worth the $5 to see the techniques and see how it got put together. The biggest technique that I'm really proud of, hopefully you can kind of see it, is the fact that we have these angles here and these curved slopes that connect and attach right to that ankle. And it's actually pretty short too. It's only 6 studs long. So I thought that was pretty impressive to be able to get that together. Maybe some of you have already done something like that, but I was pretty excited when I figured it out, and I put it on the front and the back to give it a really fun looking shape to the base there. All right, a lot of you know about the little carrying handle. This was an integral part of the New Republic tank contest, so I made sure to include it in mine. I do like the fact that mine can collapse down once it is dropped off, so the dropship will come in, drop it down, and it's all hidden away. It also fits, it can drop the tank with the turret on it. The little connection mechanism does sit tall enough, even with the guy in the turret, it can still connect. I think he does bump his head a little bit when it rocks back and forth, so bunk bunk. But for the most part, it totally fits really well, and I was really excited about it, and I was flying it around on the BAAD and dropping it down, and it's just really fun. A lot of you have seen me do that with the Republic tank, the clone, not the clone turbo tank, but the clone tank from man, I can't even remember what they're from, but the video games, and Legos had like 3 different sets of it. Anyway, now a couple things I'd mentioned in previous videos is the windscreen on the front. A lot of people, myself included, have criticized windscreens in Star Wars. The ATTC, my giant 6-legged walker, it does not use windscreens. It uses sensors and video cameras for a heads-up display inside the cockpit. A lot of my other ships do the same thing, but windscreens and areas for the pilot to see through are a part of Star Wars. They're just a major part of it, and not every ship can be hidden away and be the best and favorite design theory every time. But I really like the idea of having the X-Wing cockpit in here. The X-Wing canopy. it just worked really well. I thought it looked really good, and once I put it on there, I was never able to take it off. I was trying about a bunch of different windscreen type things, and they were fantastic. I also thought that some of these front little panels and little things up here could be shield emitters. And that's actually what led to these two guys right here. They're not just like little bumper things, they're actually supposed to be minor deflector shields to help the ship withstand blaster fire from small arms. They could even handle, I would imagine, a little bit of heavy artillery kind of fire. But then they would have their limits as well, but they would also help protect the canopy with the pilot inside. I did not feel the same about the turret guy. I figured he could handle himself. No, I'm just kidding. I actually was designing the turret for a long time. This was actually one of the hardest things that I did, because getting a turret that not only looks good, but then fits with the carrying mechanism in the middle. So I definitely knew it needed to have at least two cannons, one on each side, or maybe a singular cannon that's offset, something like that. And it took a long time to figure out how to do it, but as you can see, we have a nice little rotation mechanism on the back, so you can turn it any way you want. This kind of feature is something that I've always really enjoyed in Lego sets, is little things that you can manipulate to enhance your experience with the build. So as you're sitting there playing with it, driving it around, then you can also be sitting here back here turning the turret, so your guy can be coming around strafing, that kind of thing. It's really fun. I've always enjoyed the back and forth type things for turrets. It's just really fun, rather than having to sit up here and move it yourself, and your hand kind of covers up the action. But then if it's back here, it's like, whoo, I can slide it around and have some really cool, fun stories with it. So that's what I try to have a lot of fun with my things. Even though these cannons keep falling off, there's got to be a better way to do it. That's frustrating, that they're falling off every time I even slightly bump them with you guys, but that's okay. Stuff happens, and nothing's perfect, but I'm very proud of the job that I did on this. All right, so there's one more thing that I want to show you guys, and I'm pretty proud of this as well, and that is the underside. Now, while it's fairly bare bones, there's not a ton of details underneath. There are a few things I did want to address. Number one is our thruster back here. I really like the idea of having this have some sort of a jet propulsion, so they can get a little bit more speed when it's out and about on the battlefield. And then, of course, we have our two large repulsor lift dishes underneath. It started with the idea that after I had got a lot of this built, I was like, oh man, I need to fill this in. And I sat there looking at it, I'm like, how big is this area? Oh yeah, 6 by 6 would definitely fit inside there. Let me look at a dish. And I put the dishes in and went, yep, I'm done. This is exactly what I was hoping to do, is to have these repulsor lift dishes. I would imagine these could be cluster type, but they also could be panel type. It just depends on what the lore you want. This little dish up here, not really sure its purpose. I wouldn't say it was a repulsor lift, because we don't have a corresponding one on the back. I guess I could have added one like back here or something, but that's on the slide out mechanism. It wouldn't have made much sense for me. But I thought this one could be like some sort of a sensor, or it could be like an instrument panel, or not an instrument panel. It could be a sensor cluster that kind of analyzes the ground and keeps the pilot apprised of the type of terrain they're going over. If it needs to increase or decrease the repulsor lift, it can kind of automatically sense that as it goes. And then, of course, I do have some boat tiles on the bottom here. And those boat tiles are really just for my benefit, so that this thing slides and spins and gives me a really good experience when driving it around. It also helps hold it up just a little bit above the ground, so that your enjoyment for actually playing with it makes it feel and look like it's not touching the ground. It makes it look like it's kind of floating in the air, especially, I mean, look at that spin. those boat tiles, they're so annoying, and I have huge bins of them, but whenever I use them, I'm always happy. They always work so well. A couple of notes on the instructions I will give you guys before we go. This exact canopy I couldn't find. I believe this is the new X-Wing canopy. I know the one that I have listed on there is like $1, because that was the cheapest one I could find. But you're welcome to use any canopy necessarily. It's not a huge deal about that. I also have a lot of bright red pieces in the instructions and the parts list. The bright red, the real red components on the instructions can be any color because they end up being hidden completely inside. I have a lot of red in here that you can't actually see. So, and that's pretty much it. I guess I didn't finish talking about where I got the inspiration from the turret. A lot of you will recognize the C area, very similar to the ATTE as far as the turret goes. A few modifications, obviously. These have 2 cannons instead of the 1. It's actually a little bit shorter this way, so we shrunk it down a little bit so that it would fit in this scenario. And when you turn the turret around, the carrying mechanism still clears no problem. So that was another stipulation that I had for myself when I was building it. Make sure that it can be carried from any position that the turret's in. Obviously, it can cover it if you turn just a little, but neither here nor there. I also want to just do a shout out to Lego for this particular helmet. I love this helmet. It's one of my favorites, and if I could get those helmets for each one of my guys, I totally would. But this is now going to be my my tank commander and tank crew helmet going forward for my New Republic tank. And the other New Republic tanks that will be coming soon. Okay, thank you everybody so much for joining me here in the leg room. I hope you guys had a good time looking at my new mock. Sorry for how long the announcements were, but you know, big things are happening in my life, and losing every single one of my instructions that I have made over the entire course of my career was kind of a big deal. So yeah, I thought I'd share with you guys what's going on. So if I haven't responded to you on Rubricable, I haven't fixed the things that you've asked me to fix as quickly as you'd like, just know I am trying, and there are a lot of obstacles in my way right now. Anyway, thank you so much for hanging out, and we'll catch you next time in the Lego room. Until then, I'm TJ the Brick Right. Play well.